Hi everyone, my name is Sandy Chiesade and I'm a registered psychotherapist here in Toronto, and I'm here in my office at 320 Danforth at the Carrot Common on the Danforth, beautiful Greek town in Toronto. Just came back from delicious food at a Greek restaurant, sitting on a patio. It was lovely. It's a gorgeous day out there today. So welcome to my very first video blog. I guess it's called a vlog. Let's call it that. And I wanted to let you guys know that I just a couple of days ago, I posted my latest blog post, so written, and it was on the topic of suicide. Certainly, I think suicide has been on the minds of a lot of people lately because it's been in the news so much with the recent passing of Anthony Bourdain and Kate Spade. And those are just two celebrity suicides. And also, it's been on my mind because of the report that was just released by the CDC that mentioned that suicide rates are on the increase. They have been increasing steadily, which is very troubling, very concerning. I mean, clearly suicide is something that a lot of people are thinking about, sadly, and that just tells us that a lot of people out there are suffering. So the blog post that I wrote primarily addressed the people that are suffering. So I'd encourage you to read it. It's on my website, on the blog section of my website. So I'd encourage you to read it. It's the title of the blog is called "How Are You Really?" And I titled it that, How Are You Really? Because, how many times do we have conversations with each other? How do we start every conversation? We start every conversation with, hey, how are you? And what's the typical answer that we always hear? Oh, I'm fine. But are you really? So the blog that I wrote sort of took it from that angle and, know that when I'm, for instance, asking people how they are, whether it's my friends, whether it's my family, whether it's, colleagues or clients, if I'm asking that question, I want to hear the answer. I want the real truth, all of it. And I'm prepared to hear the answer. And that's why I'm actually doing the blog, this blog today, is because upon reflection, so that blog was released about 2 days ago or 3 days ago, something like that. Certainly it was over the weekend. And since I posted it, I've been reflecting on that message. And I realized that my blog was a little bit one-sided in that it was talking directly to the person who was suffering and sort of making suggestions in that blog about how that person can help themselves, and there was some advice there in terms of some questions you could be asking yourself and how to help yourself, and please get help. By the way, I'm just going to take another time out just to make sure if you are suffering in the moment and you are thinking of ending your life, please tell someone. Please tell someone. There's no reason for you to be suffering when there is help available for you. And I'm telling you, there's lots of help available for you. Plenty of people out in the world care about you. You matter in this world. And there is treatment that works. And you need to understand that, suicidal thought is, it's a passing thought. It's not something that's a forever thought. We all have thoughts that come and go over the course of the days, and one moment I may be having one thought, another moment I may be having another. The human mind has the capacity to hold 60,000 thoughts over the course of every day, and a suicidal thought is only one of those 60,000 thoughts that you're having over the course of your day. And it's a big thought, and for you to act on that thought in the moment when there are so many treatments out there available, please get help. So my blog that was written a couple of days ago is actually talking to you. If this is you, please get help. I know you're suffering and that really hurts. But tell someone. tell a loved one, tell a family doctor, tell your spouse, tell your friend. We all want help. So the vlog today that I'm talking about is, what about if you're on the receiving end? So what about if you're the person asking, how are you, really? And now you're faced with somebody who is being honest with you and telling you how they really are, which is they're not doing great. How do you respond to that, right? How do you respond to somebody who is wanting to end their lives? And so that's what today's vlog is about. So I've got some talking points that I wanted to go over, and I think it's important for us to all know how to sort of be of support to people. And, the very first thing that I want to dispel, I guess the misconception is that talking about suicide, it's a misconception, thinking that talking about suicide is going to cause a suicide. And actually that is completely false. If you are noticing a change in behavior, if you're noticing a change in mood in somebody, if you're noticing that your friend or loved one is more anxious than usual or is using more substances or substances at all, if you're noticing that your friend or loved one is feeling helpless and hopeless and trapped and they've withdrawn and sort of isolated themselves, these are all warning signs, right? These are all warning signs of somebody who is in a depressive mood state. And it's really important to be direct with these folks. Be direct. And if I always tell my clients, listen to your gut. The gut is never wrong. And if you've got a gut feeling that somebody is having some very dark thoughts, listen to your gut and follow up on it and actually have an open and honest conversation with that loved one. So how do you help, right? Like, how do you help? And the goal of the conversation that you need to have with this person is to listen without judgment and to actually just sort of listen deeply and care and love and validate their suffering because they are hurting. That's real. They are absolutely suffering, and so it's about bearing witness to whatever it is that they're going through at the moment. The goal of your conversation isn't to debate, so don't go there. It's not about debating, you've got so much going on in your life, or you've got everything to live for. Don't go there. This isn't up for debate. But I'd say be direct with your questions. So actually be direct in asking, are you currently having thoughts of suicide? Have you ever had thoughts of suicide before? Are you feeling left out or alone? Are you feeling trapped? Have you been sleeping? Right? Because we know that sleep impacts our moods so tremendously. So ask them, how's your sleep been these last few days? And I'd say, the ultimate goal of the conversation that you're going to have with someone is to sort of keep them talking, to keep them safe in the moment, and to also see if you can identify who you can contact to help support them. And I'd say get their buy-in with this, right? Like, this is a conversation that you can have with this individual to say, well, who can we contact that you feel safe with, right? And see if you can come up with a person. It may mean that you, depending, like, one of the questions you should also be asking is if they have a suicidal plan, what the timeline, like, do they have a timeline of when they're planning on carrying this out? So that'll help you sort of identify, like, how serious is this? And if it really is super serious, it may mean you helping them by actually sort of taking them to a hospital or to a walk-in clinic or getting them to a professional who can help them. So we talked about understanding the warning signs and what you could do to help. Again, it's about, be direct. Ask direct questions. Don't tiptoe around the word suicide, thinking you shouldn't be using that word. Use the word suicide. Use the word. Are you planning on ending your life? Are you planning on suicide? Be empathic. Be non-judgmental. Don't debate. I can't say this enough. Don't debate, and also don't minimize their feeling. So validate what they're feeling. Validate what they're going through. Draw on their resources, their networks. Identify who in their network, who's their support person in their network, and make sure to sort of get them connected with that person. And obviously, if they do have a means, an obvious means of ending their life, see if you can remove that obvious means to keep them safe. Again, the goal of the conversation is safety first. So keep them grounded and safe in the moment, and find the right support and figure out who in their network you can connect them with that can be of service. There's lots of information on the internet as well. Lots of resources on the internet in terms of suicide prevention. I recommend, I'm Canadian, so I go to Canadian websites. If you go to suicideprevention.ca, they have a wealth of information on there as well in terms of how to support someone. So I hope this blog has helped. Again, I'd encourage you to read my initial post that I posted on Medium, which is How Are You Really? And hopefully now there's a balanced perspective with, if you're feeling like self-harming, here are the things you can do. And if you're asking somebody whether they're feeling suicidal, here's the help that here's how you can listen deeply, essentially. Anyway, that's it, and I hope you've enjoyed this vlog today. This is my first one that I've ever done, and I'm hoping to do more. We'll see how that goes. If you have any questions, I'm always available via email. You can pop me an email. And I'm available at www.mindfulsolutionsclinic.com. So I'll repeat that again. It's www.mindfulsolutionsclinic.com. All right. Thanks so much for listening. I hope this has helped. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.